My dog has been endlessly hopping around the room because my dad opened the door outside, and now he's hopping around because whenever the door opens outside, he wants to jump out. No matter how many times I've walked him, it's always that way. Someone asked me on the last live stream that I did if I sit in the dark all the time, and I do. I have the few lights that irradiate from my computer screen or from the phone or from, the little bitty power strip down there. Otherwise, there's no light in here. Almost never any light in here. I always keep it dark, my eyes closed, laying down. Even without sound, I'm laying down. And this is just the way that I exist. I don't mind it. I would prefer to be able to have the ability to go see friends. I would really prefer that, to be able to, on my own terms, go see friends, go out and do stuff with them. I like people. I do. Even though I live this way, I do. It's just the types of people that I like tend to be very, very specific. And by specific, I mean people who I meet on the internet who are understanding enough of me to actually accept someone who's as weird as I am. Pretty much the metric. That's the standard that I have in place, which in a real world context, that's really difficult to receive. But on the internet, you just have to make a YouTube channel and maybe someone posts your videos on Reddit or shares it around, and eventually you find people like that. I've met my best friends that way. People sharing my videos. Because if all of you is out there directly on the internet, and that you have nothing to hide because all of the truth just exists there publicly, then the people who are going to watch you are inevitably going to be more accepting of you as an individual because you have nothing to hide. And so the negative parts that would have normally scared someone away, they would have already seen those things. If the people who would have been scared away saw those things in video, from like my hair or the way that I talk or the ideas that I have, they would decide, oh, Star is bad, I don't like Star, and then they would leave. In a real world context, all the information just isn't there, so it takes a lot longer to be understood, and you're making a lot more risks in terms of, like, if this person is going to be worthwhile to talk to, in the sense that, are they going to understand and be nice to me? So I really don't have time for people who are just, like, boring and have no interest in trying to understand, the weird things about me, or don't want to listen to it. Because I'm a weird guy. Like, the entire fabric of my being is weird. So more often than not, I just end up spending time in this room because I can't go see my internet friends freely. Like, I don't have the money to do it. If I had the money to do it, I would just do it immediately. Immediately I would do it. And I don't have the freedom. I don't have the freedom to do it. And if I did, which I could easily organize the money, it's just that, if you don't have the money right there, then you don't have the freedom to go, you know. But I would go see all my friends right now if I could. We'd hang out, go to the movies and eat and stuff and just hang around town, have fun. I'd just be going out and seeing people. And it doesn't make me less of an introvert. I spend all my time alone anyway, even if I got to do those things. Because my natural tendency is to draw inwardly. I don't cry over spilled milk. I don't cry over not being able to talk to people every single second. I prefer being alone. But every person, well, not everybody, but the majority of people need some level of social interaction. They like friends to some extent. My taste is specific in the sense that the people who I tend to like, pretty much all of them, tend to just be from the internet. So the internet culture is my culture. That's the culture that I understand and am able to connect over. And I spend all this time in this room, and sometimes I just sit down and I think, man, I really wish I had someone to cuddle with. I'm not particularly interested in talking to someone who I'm in a relationship with constantly. I'm not interested in talking to anyone constantly. That's not my personality. So many relationships, at least on the internet that I've had, seem to necessitate that. That if you're in one, you talk all the time. I can't do that. And, and when you think about sex, like, I don't particularly care about sex that much. It's not something that I'm actively seeking. It's not something that I'm desiring, in a huge way. And so more often than not, it just seems like too much of a hassle. But the desire is there. Like, the desire to love someone, to care about them, and to exchange feelings through physical comfort, through snuggling and cuddling and giving hugs and having fun, funny conversations and stuff like those things are all there, all things that I want to do. And the thing is that it's so difficult to find someone who wants to be with me who also strikes that balance, you know? And I'd be willing to try pretty much anybody, like most people I'd be willing to try. As long as like, I would be able to go see them physically. And I'd be able to I would be able to, be able to exchange these physical, these physical comforts. I can't think of the other word, affections. That's what I was going to say. It's really special. It's a very special feeling, and I never got much of it as a kid from family or friends. I was just always kind of a loner, just kind of in my own body, in my own state. I never really got that much love physically, and it's something that I like a lot, that I really, really like. I just want to lay down with someone and hold them. Like I spend so much time just thinking about that. Now I lay down on the bed and I think, man, I really wish there was someone with me who I could hold. And if this is how you folks make art, it's fucking depressing. Because a lot of my work on this channel, unscripted and scripted, or just stuff I don't release in general, tends to stem from this exact feeling that I get sad from the detached world that I live in away from everybody else. Get sad from not being able to go and see someone and just hold them. There's a lot of wind outside my house right now. I always like it when the wind starts going. It feels nice. It feels nice to hear the wind and the rain. I would like to live somewhere where it rains all the time. I think that would be nice. But I want to make a different kind of art in a way. I want to make art that's inspired by feelings of love and that time where you first kiss someone and you first you exchange your first affectionate interaction. It comes off as desperate for me to say that, but it's not something that I'm in desperation for. Like, I'm not sitting here crying about it saying, oh, woe is me. But it's in the background. It's something that I think about. I think about it and I feel a sense of longing. I go on with my day. There's still more things to do. I am a loner after all, but I still feel it. And I think everyone does to some extent. Maybe some people don't, who are just so far beyond everyone else, who their mind is so trained at this point that, like, they just exert so much self-control that they don't have to, think about these ideas of love and physical affection. But I do. A lot of us do. Even someone as misanthropic as I am does. And I just wish I could get it. That's the thing. Like, I don't even particularly care about who the person would be as long as, like, we can mutually accept one another, which I accept most people pretty fine, as long as they accept me. Like, that's my main standard that I've always talked about on this channel when I talk about misanthropy is, someone being able to deal with this, being able to deal with a guy who talks, for hours and hours into a camera about nothing. Being able to accept a guy like that. It's really all I ever wanted. And someone who gives me personal space. So I don't know. I've been sitting around thinking about it more and more lately. Like, I've never been particularly good at commitment or being in relationships in a committed way. I spend days and days where I just go off on my own. No one even knows where I am. I don't want to do stuff like that anymore, though. I want to be able to have my alone time, but I don't want to be someone who's, who just seems totally uncommitted the way that I have in every relationship that I've been in. I just want to hold someone. That's the thing, is that's really the core of it, is that I just want to hold someone. And, I don't know. One day it will happen. I know one day it will. It's just a matter of, like, being able to wait for it. I'm generally a pretty good guy. Like, I'm not a bad person, you know. I'm not actively trying to ruin everyone's lives around me. I try to act with fairly, I think, good principles. I try not to hurt other people, and I can be pretty funny in conversations and stuff. So I know I will find someone like that eventually because I'm just a nice person, you know. I'm fun to be around for the people who appreciate who I am. Um, but it's an acquired taste. I like it because I like myself, but there's going to be a lot of people who don't, and it's just a matter of finding someone who has that acquired taste, you know? So if I could just find someone who accepts that, I feel like I would be totally fine. I probably want to go see them as quick as I possibly could, but you know, I know eventually I'll find someone like that. It just takes time. Maybe they'll be from the internet, maybe they'll be from real life. Who knows? But you've got to always have hope in your heart for stuff like that. You know, you can't give up on yourself, or else you're not going to get the thing you wanted. Um, but it does suck. You know, it does suck sitting down and thinking about all of this stuff and then thinking, oh, oh, I really am experiencing this existential nightmare called being alive. What a great deal. What a great deal I've been given by this, you know, by this all powerful deity called God putting me on this earth. Oh, what a gift. Um, but I think it's important to, you know, have that context in mind that it will happen eventually. If you are a good guy, and if you aren't a good guy, first of all, make yourself into one. If you don't like yourself, find out about the things that you don't like and then change them, or just learn to accept them. And then eventually, if you're able to enjoy your own company, you'll be able to enjoy the company of other people because you won't be totally relying on them for external validation. That's always the most dangerous part. Is if you rely on someone for your internal well-being, your emotional well-being, relationship's always going to fall apart. I've had this happen because I was less confident as a person back then, and those insecurities begin to show pretty quickly. And it can cause a lot of really glaring flaws, especially if the other person has the same problem or worse, which in my case, a lot of the time they did. So I think it's really important to just work on who you are first. I think at this point, like, I feel pretty fine with who I am as a person. I just want to progress more in art. I want to progress more in language. And I want to progress to another place. Like, there aren't a lot of like personality flaws that I feel like I need to hammer out besides just working harder. That's really the only thing I can think of. Pretty much everything else is fine at this point. Like, if I got into a relationship tomorrow, I wouldn't worry about potentially hurting the other person because of something wrong with me, you know, the way that I would have felt 5 months ago, etc. You know, a year ago, definitely a year ago is way, way worse. But as time has gone on, it's gradually gotten easier and easier, and it's gradually felt more stable and healthy as time has gone on. Where at this point, I pretty much have like a mainly positive view of myself, you know. Um, so I don't know. Maybe one of these days, the golden egg will hatch, or it'll fall out of the sky or something, and I'll end up having a beautiful boy or girl who wants to cuddle or something, but it doesn't seem to be happening right now. Maybe one day. It's really is what I desire, is physical affection. Physical affection and being able to laugh with someone, being able to go out and have fun with them and stuff. It's all things that I really like. It's just, I can't do them all the time, you know? I don't know what the point of this video was.